Reading Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time, Eye of the World. Part 13. As hard as land pushed them, they were not getting farther on very quickly. They traveled 2 feet up or down, for everyone forward, and every foot was a scrambling effort, and the horns were coming nearer, nearer. There are Trollocs nearby. After a time, Lang began peering first one way and then the other. The hard planes of his face was close to worry, as it had ever come. The warder stood in his stirrups to look back the way had come, and then some of the scouts sent ahead, the rest, probably. If we come on, then stay with me at all cost. Do as I do. We must keep on the way we are going. Stay with me for the 7 hours. Rand gulped and booted his horse forward. The whole group of them streamed after the warden. Cowed up by Land's cry, Rand found his own and Brain took it up as well. Manhattan, 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 Manhattan. But Matt shouted something different. Kara and Kaldazar, Karal and Elisander, Elisander. And then Lan was on the merger. As the human folk fell on the truck line, Water's blade met black steel from forges of Takandar, a flash of blue light filling the air like shit lightning. This muzzled almost man swarmed. The humans catch poles and hooks flailing. Only Land and the murderer did they avoid those two fought in a clear circle. Black horses, marching step for step, swords, marching stroke for stroke. Moraine, white mud dashes and coo at the slightest touch of the Aes Sedai hand at the reins. Her face was as hard as lance as her staff lashed out. Flames enveloped the Trollocs, then burst with a roar, that left misshapen forms unmoving on the ground. A space opened around the woman as the Trollocs tried to flee from Moraine's staff, but as they attempted to avoid her, so did they mount. A noose on the end of the pole swept Durant's hand with awkward slash to cut the catapult in two, then hacked the goat-faced troll who held it. And then a hook cut Durant's shoulder, tangled in his cloak, pulled him back. Rance held on desperately. As Cloud thrashed around Rance, caught a glimpse of Perrin, half out of his saddle, struggling to wrest his axe away from 3 Trollocs. A Trolloc sat slammed Rance's leg, helping the hook to pull him out of the saddle. Cloud shrieked and thrashed, and for a moment, only Trollocs filled Rance's side. And then it stopped. The pulling vanished. The troll had stopped attacking, began to scream. All of the trolls screamed, and howled. Like how the dogs in the wood had gone mad. They fell, writhing to the ground, tearing at their hair, throwing their own faces, biting at the ground, snapping at nothing, and howling, howling, howling. Then Rand saw the murderer. This is not all of them. Right. The horns bayed like hounds, with the scent of a deer, hounds closing in. If Rand had said a hard pace before, he doubled it now. The horses scrabbled uphill faster than they had gone downhill before. Then they only threw themselves at the other side. But still, the horns came nearer. Eventually, the humans reached a hilltop, just as Trollocs appeared on the next hill behind them. Only 100 spans separated the 2 parties. The hilltop was blackened with the Trollocs and the 3 murder overran them all. 3. The murderous black sword rose as one, and Trollocs boiled down the slope, triumphant cries rising. Moraine climbed down from Ollip's back calmly. She removed something from her pouch and unwrapped it. Rand glimpsed dark ivory. With Angua in one hand and her staff in the other, the Asadai set her feet, raised her staff high. The ground rang like an iron kettle struck by a mallet, and then for an instant all was silent. The wind died. Trolloc cries still. Even the church forward slowed and stopped. For headbeat everything waited. Slowly, a low rumble returned, growing until the earth moaned. This was as a dialogue like the story is told about, and Rand wished he were 100 miles away. The ground rippled, lapping toward the Trollocs like ripples in the pond, ripples that grew as they ran. the far slope, Trollocs fell in heaps, tumbled over and over by the raging air. Yet, as if the ground were not rearing all around them, the murderer moved forward in a line, the dead black horses never missing a step. Trollocs roared on the ground all about the black steeds, but the murderer came slowly on. Moraine lifted her staff and heard still. She was not done. Fire will burn forever. Go, hurry. Every minute counts. The wall of flame rolled, as if it would indeed burn forever. Brian did not argue. They galloped northward as fast as they could make their horses go. The horns, in the distance, strilled out disappointment, then fell silent. As they rode, one thought, so that's what the battle was like. He could not remember much of it, not any particular part. Everything ran together in his head, a melted mass of hairy faces and fear and heat. It had seemed as hot as a midsummer noon while it was going on. Rand could not understand that. Rand's contemplation was soon broken, where he noticed that Lan and Moraine had caught up with others, thought Lan led Ardeleb by the reins, while the Acidae swayed and held the pommel of her saddle with both hands. Are you? I'll be alright soon. I'm not at my strongest when walking with air and fire. That's Martin. By and by the hills grew smaller, and the land began to level out. But instead of pressing on, land stopped. He and Acidae rode ahead and put their heads together from Moraine's gestures. Become apparent. They were arguing. Randall's thinks you were shouting at the Trollocs. What about him? Matt must have repeated that story 10 times. And badly. However, he told it with our heart it any number of times. Besides, we had to shout something. I mean, that's what we do. At a time like that, you heard Lan. And we have a right. Moraine says we're a descendant from those Mediterranean people. They fought the Dark Ones and we're fighting the Dark One. that gave us the right. Oh, I wasn't talking about that. What was it with you were shouting at? I don't remember. Well, I don't. It's our forget. I don't know what it was or what it came from. What it means. I don't suppose it means anything. I think it does. When you shouted, I thought, just for a minute, I thought I understood you, but it's all gone now. Perhaps you're right. Such what you can imagine at a time like that, isn't it? Karai Alcazar, Karai and Alexander, Alexander. For the honor of Radigo, for the honor of Rose of the Sun, the Rose of the Sun, the ancient war cry of the Manataran, and the war cry of its last king, Azdran, was called the Rose of the Sun. The blood of Harald's line is still strong in the rivers, and our blood still sinks. And third, he knew what Matt was thinking, the same thing I was thinking. Matt was a descendant of the ancient kings of Manhattan. Maybe the trolls weren't really after him, and not our three of them. The thought made him ashamed. I can't say that I have ever heard the like of this. Another time I might even make a story out of it, but right now, do you intend to remain here for the rest of the day as I die? No. They have passed a while. You're not strong enough for what you intend yet. Not yet, not without rest. Neither murder nor Trog will enter that place. Very well, you're right, I suppose, but I would rather there was any other choice. Gather in around me, all of you, as close as you can. At Moraine's insistence, they kept crowding in close, in a circle around her until every horse had its head stretched over the cropped or withers of another. Only there was a Sedai satisfied. Then without speaking she stood in the stirrups and swung her staff over their heads, stretching to my certain it covered everyone. To the Trollocs, all scents and all tracks will seem to follow that. The murderer will see through it in time, but by then, we will have lost sounds. Only they would know it again, not at the crushing pace they had been making, but rather in the quick walk with which they had travelled the Camel Road. Then if rode beside us, that concerning battling dislike on her face, and there was a hint of something more, and thought almost as if the wisdom saw some go inside. And I always wished the horns would start again. At least they were a way of telling how far back the trolls were in the fates. He kept looking back, and so was not the first to see what lay ahead. A great irregular mass stretched off to either side, out of sight. Was it a cliff? The wise would make climbing easy, but to never get the horses up. Suddenly, as they rode a little closer, one saw it was clearly not just kind of rock formation. There was clearly a tower with an all-pointed dome at the top. It's a city. It had to be 10 times as big as Berlin, 50 times as big. A city, but what's a city doing in the middle of forest like this? And without any people? Would people let vines grow over everything like that? You know how creepers can tear down a wall. Look how it's fallen. I wonder what city it was. I wonder what happened to it. I don't remember anything from Papa's map. It was called Aridor. In the days of Trolloc Wars, it was an ally of Manetheren. Later Aridor died, and this place was called by another name. What name? Here. We enter here. They have discovered its fast trial. Come, we must find shelter before dark. One name? Shada Logot. It's called Shadow Logot.